So we heard a lot of great things about the Silhouette Cameo 4, so we decided to take it for a test drive. It has tech to help you cut thicker materials, fabrics, and papers, even without a cutting mat in some cases. Now, the Cameo 4 features a dual carriage, just like some of the other machines. The primary tool chamber has a standard force setting of up to 210 gram force, so you can cut basic material types. Second chamber, up to 25 times that force, which is crazy. You've got the tool adapter set with the blue, gray, black, and white for different things, and it's got a little sneaky compartment where you can hide an extra blade here, and that's pretty cool, right? You can hide all kinds of things in there. It's got this, it's got a roll feeder built in and a cross cutter in the back, so you can cut rolled materials very easily, and it comes with it. It's already built in. I think you can hold both 9 and 12-inch rolls with a maximum diameter of 3 inches. Here's the cross cut in the back. Makes it really convenient. It's already got a cutter built into it. So for the first time, supposedly you can cut materials like paper and cardstock without a cutting mat. We're going to try that in a second. You need to make sure this tool, this auto blade, is put in there right. See how there's no gap there? You got to really punch it in. It's kind of tricky to pop it in there correctly. And if you want to cut without a mat, you just move this thing over, and it's got this little rubber doodad underneath, and it automatically sucks the paper in if you've got it set up right. You're going to make sure that that thing is all the way over and touching the paper. It's got a little click in there. It knows where letter size paper is. So I sped this up really fast, and I mean, it's basically like a Cricut, only it sounds like nails on a chalkboard. This thing's really, really loud. I mean, not bad loud, but... And it did an okay job as far as cutting without a mat. I'm going to say it prefers a mat. I think it's going to do a lot better with a mat. But just wanted to give it a shot without a mat because I thought that was interesting. So here's the mat that does come with this kit. And that's your standard sticky mat. It's clear, which is interesting on the sides. Makes it a little kind of difficult to see. There is a ruler on there, which is interesting that there is no ruler in the cutting software unless you upgrade. That's it's tacky, standard. So we're going to do a little vinyl cut in here. Now this gets a little tricky too. We had to do some weird things. It said mirror, so we mirrored it, and then it came out wrong. And we flipped it upside down, and then it cut incorrectly. So it took a little, don't mirror it, just mirror it in the software, which I will show you in a few minutes here, and that'll work better. It's going to come up with mirror. Do you want to mirror this thing? Just click no, and just mirror it manually, believe me. That's going to be a lot easier for you. I think we wasted an entire roll of vinyl trying to figure that out. But it's pretty fast and does an adequate job cutting everything. Just like your Cricut or just like your brother. So we're making a shirt called Belanda for a friend of mine. We finally got it right, and it looks good. It cut very, very well, perfectly. It's got a whole bunch of settings in the software. Now their software is called Silhouette Studio. And it's a lot like the Cricut software and the Brother software. Only there's a lot less free stuff in here. They're really going to nickel and dime you. There really is not a lot for free in here at all. I think I did find the free button up here. But most of this stuff they are going to charge you for, which is interesting. Now, the software itself is free, but if you want any designs, I mean, there's a few free ones in here, but you're probably going to have to pay for designs regardless, I think, of which version you can get. You can get the designer edition, which is $50, allows you to import SVGs, and it shows your rollers on the screen, which is crazy that they don't show your rollers in the basic version, but it is what it is. Then there's this Designer Plus edition and then a Business edition, and you can look up what they do. But once you unzip it, it opened it automatically in the software, which is nice. And then you can ungroup it and really play with it, which is nice, because I thought it would be one standard flat file. You couldn't do anything to it, but you can actually take this apart and maybe use pieces of it for a different project, which is really nice. So I resized it. You can drag it all together. It's grouped right now, and you can ungroup this and then move these things wherever you want. I thought that was a pretty neat feature that you could do with the purchased images, because now you can make 20 different things with this thing if you want to. If you're smart, just save it and then modify it and do whatever you want to do with it. So we went ahead and did a cut of this just to see what it would be like, and I had to do some adjustments on here. Software is pretty self-explanatory. The cutting blade does a pretty good job of automatically choosing the right cutting pressure depending on the material you're using. I wanted to cut this one without a mat, so I had to go through the software and tell it, hey, no mat here, this is the size, it's 8.5 by 11, blah, blah, blah. And it's got a couple different settings here. There's the cut and then the cut this other cut option here. And the difference is I had to go to the manual, which is you can download that. It actually comes with the software. Tell it the type of material, bazillions of types of material, every type of vinyl and cardstock, and even cloth you can think of, depending if you have the right blades. So that is pretty thorough. And it automatically assigns the right pressure to the blade. And I really, really dig that, because I can't be bothered with messing with pressures and times and all that stuff, because you never really know. You're going to end up wasting a ton of material. So it's always better if you let the machine choose what it thinks it needs on its own. So there's these two cut options here, and I went to the manual to look up what's the difference. There's cut and cut edge. Basically, cut edge, if you do cut, it's going to cut everything. If you cut edge, it's going to kind of automatically weld things together and kind of guess what's supposed to be together, and then cut it as one big cohesive family instead of individual cuts, which is what you want, because you don't want those little cuts. It's a lot more pasting things together if you have that kind of situation. So that's nice to have that option. I wanted to do some basic text editing. And again, you have the freedom of whatever fonts are on your system, so that is great. Just be aware that the really thin fonts are going to be a lot more difficult to weed, depending on the type of vinyl you have. So mirror it in the software. There's an option to mirror it in the software. You can't see it here, but it's in the menu above. Just mirror it horizontally. And then when it comes up to say mirror in the software, just send it as it is. Believe me, you're going to have a lot less pain than we did. I think we wasted an entire roll trying to figure this out. And finally, it came out right. It looks good, and it peeled nicely. It cut perfectly. So yeah, this is a pretty svelte machine. It's a really, really good substitute or an alternative to the Cricut. And I think we're going to have a lot of fun with this.